Ahoy there, I'm Tiny Pirate and welcome to some channel news. In the background you'll be watching Automation by Camshaft Studios. So Automation, the car company tycoon game, is by a company that's now based in Wellington, New Zealand, where I am. And I met Andrew from Automation, or from Camshaft, the other day at a local developer meetup. And I thought it'd be really fun. It's one of my Patreon pledged things to do, to go and visit sort of developers, or spend time with developers and spend time with the local development community, because YouTubers, I think we offer a useful aid to game companies. We help them get their games out there, and I thought, hey, it'd be cool to meet some local developers. And so I met Andrew from Camshaft and we talked about Automation and their plans for the game. And so here we are. I've got it in the background now. This is a really, really, really serious car building simulation. And as you can probably tell, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. It is pretty cool. If you like cars and simulations around making them, you're going to really enjoy this. And it has a sort of a car building and testing component. And in the future, there will be a tycoon component. They're working on that right now. A small company brought out Automation in early access and planned to add the tycoon element to it a little later on, which is what they're doing. The game's also about to be converted, I believe, over to Unreal Engine 5. Anyone who wants to can correct me on that, which I think will also really help the accessibility of it, because it'll give them a little bit more freedom, I think, to do interesting graphical things and polish and what have you. So, enjoy watching me fail to build cars well. It's a pretty special experience, I think you'll agree. On to other elements of news. Had a really good month playing Stellaris. Thanks to everyone who joined to watch it, and thanks to all of you regulars who've also been enjoying it as far as I can tell. I've been having quite a bit of fun with it. It's made me wonder if I should try and put Hearts of Iron 4 on the channel. A couple of my patrons have said yes, they'd love to see Hearts of Iron 4. I would like to play it, but these Paradox games can be so massive. And I'm sure you all know this, really. I mean, they can be really time consuming. And I'd want to be able to do it justice. So my thought is to take Hearts of Iron 4, and I'd probably look at playing maybe one of the Chinese factions, trying to fight off the Japanese and survive for as long as possible. Alternately, start at the Spanish Civil War, play as Spain until the end of the war, and then choose a certain point in time to perhaps join in the main war. So, it might be sort of episodes of 3 or 4 episodes of Spanish Civil War, a pause, and then, 3 years later, Spain joins the World War II on the side of whoever it is, and that could be quite interesting. Interested in your thoughts on that? Let me know. What would you like to see? In other news, I have been doing a little bit of streaming. So I fulfilled what I thought I would do and said I would do, and I've started to stream games that perhaps have a limited audience on the channel. So XCOM 2, which has some of my patrons in it, which has YouTube voices in it. I have streamed a couple of episodes of that recently, and so the video goes up as part of the playlist. It goes up as an XCOM 2 video, but it is quite easy for me to put out a stream video like that. It's quite straightforward, which means that everyone gets to see more videos. If you like watching XCOM 2 and you've enjoyed the series, then it's going to keep going, because streaming is pretty straightforward and it's easy to get those videos into the channel. And if you don't like XCOM 2, it's not really going to have an impact on your watching of videos, because it won't cause anything else to be delayed. The only thing that causes big delays for me, as many of you know, is the weather, which in Wellington is either howling a gale and raining, or on very, very rare occasions still, when it's howling a gale, it literally is howling, makes it really hard to record because of the noises, which I'm sure you're all sick of hearing about. In other news, thank you very much to my patrons, in particular Ricky Two Shoes, Shim, Wraith Leader, Icy Thulu, Rashar, Bert, Jason Price, and Brian Rubin. Thank you very much for your support. Really helps me to do this thing. Covers your patronage covers the software costs, which is brilliant, and leaves me a little bit left over to cover my domain and bits and bobs like that. So that's awesome. If anyone else wants to look at joining the Patreon supporters, I'm just about to rejiggle the rewards. By the time you watch this video, that should be done. So you might find it a bit easier to read on the page. Might find those rewards interesting and fun. So I hope maybe we'll see you over there too. And I'm continuing to work on the goals I put forward in my Patreon. So I have added a little bit of support every month to the Wellington Game Developers Meetup. They use money to pull down interesting speakers from other parts of the country, and anyone who visits the country gets roped into coming down to Wellington to speak to local developers and people associated with the games industry. Recently, the Wellington Game Developers Meetup brought Rami Ismail down. Rami is half of Vlambeer Studios in the Netherlands. They made Nuclear Throne, Super Crate Box, Ridiculous Fishing, and Lufttrousers. He was a really, really interesting and fascinating speaker. Should be a couple of screenshots of that talk up on your video about now. So yeah, I enjoyed visiting the Game Developer Meetup, and I enjoy supporting them, and a little bit of the Patreon money helps with that. So that's all I've got for you now. Thank you very much for tuning into Channel News videos and for checking out Automation and listening to me ramble about game developers and bits and bobs like that. Fantastic having you around. Love having you guys commenting. Really appreciate the really sort of smart and fun community that's sort of built up around the channel. Keep it up. Like having you around. Until next time, I've been Tiny Pirate. Good night.